Right, but man. Nothing else, I'm not lying. Bobby Nicey. God, no.
Yeah, another production from Dean's Kitchen.
Wow.
Yeah, so stick and stay for the recipe.
No man, this nothing else. It's gonna look bad. Yo,
To all my loyal viewers, supporters, the ones that wanna watch and now say nothing, no worry, still as soon. Love on the same way. To all my new subscribers, my potential subscribers, what are you waiting for? Click that notification bell. Up, the kitchen will get started and we have some nice things are going on in there. And for all of the people them way,
love them belly.
yeah man, the show will start. Happy Easter everyone. Let's get baking some buns.
Here are the ingredients that we need for our Easter bun. I have nutmeg, mixed spice for baking. You can use allspice or 5-spice if you have those as well. Some salt, baking soda, baking powder, cinnamon powder, some sugar. The darker the sugar, the better. So brown sugar, or they have baker dark sugar, that's also good as well. And some flour. I was out of all-purpose flour, so I used baking flour. That's fine, you can use that too. And we have some raisins. Now these raisins were soaked in rum and fruit wine. Now if you want this to be a non-alcoholic bun, you can remove the rum altogether. You can use fruit wine, or if you don't have fruit wine on hand, you can just use some warm water, add it to the raisins, and leave it for at least 2 to 3 minutes. What you kind of want to do is moisten our raisins. We really don't want dry, crispy raisins in our bun. So any method of liquid, whether it be rum, fruit wine, or water that you use would be perfect. And for our wet ingredients, I am using 2 eggs, some almond flavoring, a bottle of dragon stout. Now again, if you want this to be non-alcoholic, you can use Malta or any other malt that you have. That's perfectly fine. Some rose water. It's completely optional. You can leave this out if you don't have any at home. Same goes for the almond. You can leave those out as well. Some vanilla. Try not to leave this out. It really enhances the flavor of all our other spices and all the other ingredients. So I highly recommend using high quality vanilla, or a vanilla extract is also perfect. It's the best option to use. And some fruit wine that we added to our raisins. We're also going to add that to our batter as well. We have browning. Now this is completely optional. I'm using about a teaspoon, not a lot. So if you want to use more, then that's fine. You can do that, or you can just add about a small amount of browning till you get the color that you're really looking for. Some strawberry, well, this is strawberry topping. It also can use, but if you have jam, that is also good. But we're using some of this. This is also good. You can use this. Some molasses. Ensure that it's good quality molasses. I got this from my mom. She sells in the market, Coronation Market. Just go in the Digital Building, ask for Mrs. Thompson. You find her. She sells good quality molasses. I think my dad does too. I'm not sure. I have to. But he sells nuts and grains and seeds, so y'all better check him out too. Same place. And we have some real lemon, 100% lemon juice. If you have lemon zest, you can use that. If you have freshly squeezed lemon juice, you can use that as well. Or orange zest. I've already zested this orange. But I'm using the zest of this orange as well to kill the rawness in my eggs, in my batter. We don't want to taste that. So now we have all the ingredients that we'll be using. Let's get started. So earlier in the video, guys, I forgot to mention one of our main ingredients, which is butter. My bad. So we'll be using our butter now. For the full list of ingredients and instructions, you can check our description box below. added butter to our saucepan, and we want to ensure that it is fully melted before we turn off our heat. Now, one trick I learned when it comes down to melted butter is if you have cinnamon, you don't have enough, or you love strong cinnamon flavor, I would recommend that you add your cinnamon directly to your melted butter when it is hot. That way it blooms your cinnamon and gives you a nice, strong cinnamony flavor. But of course, if you're not looking for that, you can just follow these steps as is, and everything will still be fine. So now our butter is finished. Turn off our heat. Now to that, I'm going to add that to our saucepan. I like to add directly my sugar. The description did ask for up to 2 cups, and that is because you can sweeten it however you like it. I'll be using 1.5 cups because our wine is a little sweet, so we don't want to go in with too much sweetness. So we're going in the garden style, using the whole bottle. And give this a quick stir. Now, to this, we're gonna add our fruit wine, or you can use red label wine if you want. As I think I mentioned that earlier, you can use red label wine, that's fine. Or I don't know if regular wine can use. I've never tried that, but red label wine, fruit wine, I stick to what I know. We are gonna add our tablespoon of molasses, which is about 2 dishes. This is a half tablespoon. And a teaspoon of browning, which is a half a teaspoon. So I'm going in with 2 of this. Give it a quick stir. Combine the ingredients thoroughly. Then we're going to go in with about a teaspoon of vanilla. I kind of eyeball this. About a half teaspoon of rose water. Again, eyeball it. And our almond. I use 1/8 of a teaspoon because it is very strong. Just a drop, to be honest. It is very strong. Or a little drizzle, you might say. We're going to combine this. Now, there are 2 methods of making this. One is you can whisk until the sugar is dissolved fully, or you could actually heat it on the stove until when you go, you see no sugar crystals or sugar granules in your hand or on your utensil. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the stove method, and I'm gonna heat this until all the crystals are gone, and we'll be right back. All right, so one thing to note, you're not boiling your liquid. We really want to just dissolve our sugar granules. So we want to give it a constant stir. That also helps it to melt, and we're looking for, when we do this, we don't see the granules. So we're going to do this for about 2 minutes, helping it dissolve. And again, we're not bringing it to a boil, we're bringing it to a low simmer for as long as that sugar take to dissolve. All right, so if you realize I do this, I'm not seeing any sugar on my spatula. So what we're gonna do is turn off the heat. We're done. If you realize it didn't come to a boil, as a matter of fact, it really didn't come to a simmer. It was just warm enough, and the motion of the stir allowed the sugar to dissolve. So let's go. I'm gonna set this aside, let it cool all the way down. You can transfer it back to your mixing bowl. And if you have ice, you can just set it in some ice for it to, to speed up the cooling. But otherwise, you can set it aside and let it cool down completely. All right, so our liquid ingredients is now at room temperature. We're gonna go ahead and add our eggs. Now in the egg, I added my orange zest as well as my lemon juice. So we're gonna go ahead, add that directly to our mixture. Now, if your mixture isn't cool or at room temperature, then that's gonna cook your eggs, and that is not what we want. So please ensure that your mixture is cool. Now we're gonna set this aside and we're gonna work on our dry ingredients. I must say, you need to smell this kitchen. It smells delicious. Believe it or not. Now to our flour, we're gonna add our salt, baking powder, baking soda, all our spices, that's the nutmeg, the cinnamon, and the mixed spice. We're gonna add that. Then we're gonna give this a good whisk. We want to evenly distribute all our ingredients. We don't want some being too salty, some having a little bit more spice, and some parts of the bun. So thoroughly distribute evenly all our ingredients. When that's done, we're gonna reach back for our liquid ingredients, and we're gonna add about a tablespoon of our jam, or in my case, the strawberry topping. But hey, girls gotta improvise, right? Practice not. It's perfectly fine. Okay. Now it's much easier to add the jam before you put it on the stove. That way it kind of melts better. But to be honest, I kind of forgot it. My bad. I always do. Now we're gonna add in our dry ingredients. Alright, so now our liquid ingredients is fully completed. We're gonna add our dry ingredients in 2 parts. You're gonna keep stirring, get rid of any lumps. Okay, so now to our mixture, we are going to add our raisins. You can add mixed peels to this if you want, but we're not really a fan of mixed peel, so we didn't add any. So we're gonna go ahead and turn our mixture over into our loaf pan, bun pan, bread pan. This is a 9-inch. If you have smaller, you can divide it into 2. You can divide the batter into 2 if you wish, or you can leave it at the 9-inch. And my oven has been preheating for 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're gonna add this as soon as it's done. We're gonna add this to it, and we're gonna give it about 1 hour and 15 minutes. It's ready now. About 1 hour and 15 minutes. It all depends on your oven. So after about 50 minutes, check on it. Use a toothpick or a skewer or a very thin knife. Just poke the center. If it comes up clean, then it's ready. If not, then just keep going. Check it every 5 minutes or so until it comes up clean. Then you know it is fully baked. Oh, so before I add my bun, we're gonna do a little bit of a decoration, pretty simple. We have some cherries here. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of just, just sprinkle it on top of our bun. It'll look pretty. If you wanted to, you could have added it directly into the batter. That's good too, but I prefer mine on top. I didn't have enough to put into the batter itself, so just added that. And then we're gonna release any air bubbles that are in our batter. Tapping it down, releasing any air bubbles. Then we're gonna set this to bake, and we'll be right back. All right, so our bun is just about ready, and we're gonna go ahead and make our glaze. Now it's pretty simple to make the glaze. It's just 3 basic ingredients. We are gonna go in with about a tablespoon of jam. To that, we are adding about 2 tablespoons of butter. We'll be adding about 3 to 4 tablespoons of sugar. I use 3 because I'm using jam. I'll top it together. So I'm going to stick with 3. Then you're going to give this a thorough mix. And you are going to bring this to a nice boil until it becomes the consistency that you are looking for. Other substitutes for the jam, apart from water, you can use coconut oil. That's another one I've seen. Canola oil, you can use that as well. So there are options out there. Or you can use honey. You can skip the jam and just use honey with your water and a little bit of sugar. That works as well. So get crazy with your glaze, and you just want to give your bun a nice, beautiful finish. And of course, we want to work on the flavor as well to ensure that the flavor is right. So we have the consistency that I want. As I mentioned, it's just a glaze, so it's looking how I want it to look. So we're going to turn this off, set this aside, let it cool down a little bit, and when our bun is out of the oven, we're going to go ahead and top that off. The bun is out of the oven. A few tips to avoid the crack. Try not to open the oven as often as possible, or in my case, if you're making such a large batch, for me, I would prefer to split it in 2. I just wanted to make one big bun. So, and you can also reduce the baking powder. You can drop it from 4 teaspoons to about 3. That also works pretty well. Or just use 2 even tablespoons of baking powder. That works as well. So it's cooled. It was set aside for about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm just gonna go in with my glaze. And even if it does crack, don't worry about it. It tastes just as good, trust me. Oh, and another thing I just remembered as well, this also contributes to the type of oven that you use as well. Even though you put it at 350, sometimes the temperature is a little too high at the 350, so you want to watch that. Use an oven thermometer if you can. That will tell you the exact temperature of your oven, and you want to use that accordingly. So here we have it, our Easter bun. When it is completely cooled, we're going to cut into it and see what it looks like.
Right, but no.
Thanks again for tuning into this kitchen. Please remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell for any new content we drop. Yeah, man. Alright, like, share, leave your comments below. Any questions or queries. Respect.